Some videos are more difficult to make than others. And this is one of those videos because I'm still struggling or trying to grapple with how I feel about this particular subject. The bad news is it's another rabbit hole. And this is probably, it's fair to say, this is the deepest rabbit hole I have yet to fall into. I don't know if I'm ever going to get out of it. So here's the deal. I am going to learn everything I can about this particular rabbit hole so you don't have to. I don't have all the answers today, but hopefully I will in the coming weeks, and I'll keep you posted. The good news is I have unlocked the next level in my listening experience. Now, I don't know how many of you play video games. For those that do, and also for those that don't, there comes a point in the game where you reach the next level. Now, when you do, it's a cause for celebration. You get a dopamine reward and you're ready to tackle the next boss and the next level. It's called gamification, and that is how the gaming industry has made its money all of these years. Maybe it's an added power that you have to buy, or an added skill, or maybe it's a secret map that you have to unlock by spending some money. Now, why am I talking about video games on a channel about vinyl records? Well, it's because I did unlock the next level and I defeated the boss that was guarding it. And that boss was me. I defeated myself. I will explain in just a moment. But first, I do want to tell you about today's sponsor. Now, these beautiful record storage consoles are only achieved at the next level. I couldn't help myself. They're handmade in the US by Sidetracked Workshop. Now, they're made of quality, very sturdy wood construction that has a modern design, but also a hint of mid-century. And some of these consoles will hold both your records and your turntable. Sidetracked Workshop ships for free here in the US, and their consoles arrive fully assembled. All you have to do is screw in the feet, find a spot to display your Joy of Vinyl, and you're good to go. And Sidetracked Workshop was kind enough to offer a 15% discount to viewers of the channel. All you have to do is use the code that's in the description on this video and pop it in at checkout, and you're good to go. A moment ago, I said that I was the boss guarding that previous level, and I was. My record journey has always been a learning experience. There's things I know and there's things I don't know, and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way, which I've tried to convey on this channel and tried to help folks who are new to it. One thing, though, I have always prided myself on was my ability to set up a new turntable or to set up a new cartridge if I'm swapping out an old cartridge. I'm always looking for ways to improve my listening experience. And not that it's rocket science, but I've gone out of my way to educate myself on how to improve the sound I get from cartridges and also the turntable. This is especially so when it comes to installing a new cartridge. And one of the things I did that really helped me out is this, hitting the like button. Yeah, I couldn't resist. No, I'd pull out my cartridge alignment tool for setting the cartridge up and aligning things, making sure they looked good. Then I would move on to the vertical tracking force. In the case of my Audifon Black LVB250, that was set like right around 1.60, which is what Audifon recommends. And then I would turn my attention to the anti-skate. Most manufacturers and everything I've ever learned up to this point was to set it right around the same as you have your vertical tracking force. So if my vertical tracking force is 1.6, I would set the anti-skate to around 1.6. I was happy with it. This always worked for me. Ignorance is bliss. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't even know that there was a next level until I discovered WallyTools. Now, I'd come across their site a few years ago when researching the horizontal forces that are acting on cartridges. Then I looked at the tools they offered, I looked at the prices and the philosophy behind everything they taught and what those tools were for, and I have to admit my brain shut down. And it's not so much that it was complicated, which actually does seem to be at face value, but it's because of the math that's involved. My brain shuts down when there's math. Math is literally my kryptonite. I got a D in algebra in high school. Not because it's hard, but because I thought it was, so I gave up. Like I did the first time I looked at the WallyTools website. I mean, like I said, I was happy with my sound. But then I looked at it again. Then one day, after landing on the site for perhaps the millionth time, I reached out and asked about their tools. I was fortunate enough to speak with J.R. Boyclair, the actual wizard behind WAM Engineering and Wally Tools. And in an hour conversation I had with JR, I learned more about the forces acting against my cartridge and the cantilever, and a lot of the myths involved in adjusting for those forces. I learned more in that conversation than I had learned in years, literally years. I was eager to see what their tools offered, and if nothing else, I would try them out and find out that I'd been right all along. How wrong I was. JR sent along the Wally Skater and the Wally Tractor, and I spent a few hours watching WAM Engineering videos and how to use them. When I say hours, I'm not kidding. I literally spent hours watching those videos because I wanted to know everything there was to know. I wanted to beat algebra. But there's a little bit of algebra, and that's down the road, and it's a bit scary. But what I learned was everything I thought I was doing right. I was doing some things right, but there was so much that I didn't know and I didn't account for, and it was really scary. I didn't realize what I was doing wrong until it was shown to me. I realized after all this time, I was my own worst enemy. I was the boss guarding the next level. Now, I'd acquired some very bad habits and some misconceptions along the way, like using a blank record to check anti-skate. I always used the fourth side of Fisher's joy to do so. It's the wrong thing to do. As soon as the stylus touches that surface, those forces that you're trying to adjust for are completely out of whack. It is not a true indicator of anti-skate, and I always thought it was. There is so much there that it boggles the mind, and the Wally tools are there to unboggle the mind. Now, I won't go into how to use those tools right now. There's a whole site for that, a whole YouTube channel that WAM Engineering has, and JR does a much better job in explaining those forces that are acting against your cartridge and cantilever and everything than I couldn't even begin to do it justice. So check those out. One of these days I will do that, but I want to make sure I master these tools first. As I dug deeper, though, this is how I realized that rabbit hole I was falling into was actually bigger than I realized. There is a lot more in there. There are other levels to master, and levels I didn't even know were there. And there are concepts that I'd heard before, but never really considered. Things like vertical tracking angle or stylus rake angle. I've heard of these things, but I pretty much disregarded them. I mean, I'd been listening to records for years and never cared about VTA until I heard what it means, and now I do. The Wally Skater reveals and corrects for some of those forces, but not all of them. Once you've learned what they are, you can then use the Wally Tractor to properly align your cartridge. What I thought was a perfectly aligned cartridge that I set up personally was revealed by the Wally Tractor to be off by about a millimeter or two. And then it was back to the Wally Skater to properly set the anti-skate. Now, both of these tools were engineered after years of scientific research. Seriously, I'm not kidding. They were. There was a lot of research and engineering that went into creating both of these tools and the others offered by Wally Tools. It was like being offered the keys to the next kingdom, which literally I was. My first listening experience after readjusting both my cartridge and my anti-skate using the tools revealed to me how much they improved the sound and improved my listening experience. And I'm going to admit, it was both exciting and heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because I had no idea what I was missing. I thought I had it all figured out. I'm all about learning and adjusting my beliefs, but when it came to cartridge alignment and anti-skate, I thought I had it down. But I was also excited because now there's a whole new level or whole new hole to explore that allows me to re-listen to my records in a whole new way. There's going to be better clarity, and I've heard this, better sonic separation and a wider sound stage. Is it magic? Well, no. Is it physics? Absolutely. I said at the beginning that I was struggling with this, and I am. There are other forces to learn about and other bosses and next levels to achieve. And as I do, I promise I am going to clue you in. I'm going to hand you those cheat codes as I get them. And that's the thing, is folks who enjoy music and enjoy vinyl records, we want to get the most out of our listening experience. And when we purchase something new or make an adjustment or a tweak that all of a sudden improves the sound even slightly, it's exciting because now we have a whole new world to explore, and we can go back to re-listen to music and records that we have known intimately over the years. Fortunately for us, there are folks like JR whose mission it is to educate us and create those tools to improve our listening experience. Now, like I said, I can't do it justice right now, but I will link to the videos in the description, which will do that justice. In the meantime, wish me luck and stay tuned. As I learn more, I'll talk about it both here on the website and the newsletter, and I'll probably do some behind the scenes stuff for members who join the Patreon group. It's really a endless rabbit hole, but there are things you can do right now to help improve your sound. You can just check out this video here. I talk about them in that. And until next time, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy your records and stay safe.